Good afternoon, everybody. I am Merlin Hollis. Today I will be giving an informative class on the military orders process. For an organization that has well over 1 million members, communication is key. Therefore, the military has adopted one process for all members of the Army to use to communicate orders throughout the ranks. So what is an order? An order is an arrangement or disposition of people or things in relation to each other according to a particular sequence, pattern, or method. The military uses this method to communicate orders from the top of the food chain, being a 4-star general, all the way down to a private who's 18 years old and new to the Army. So in order for higher command to determine what needs to be in order, what needs to be pushed down to what level, they use the 5 W's. The first W is who can or needs to do it. That includes at different levels of the Army of what level has to be there to complete the mission at the minimum level. The next W is what? What has to be done? What does that mission, that soldier, that unit have to do to complete the mission? The next W is where. When does that mission have to be completed? It's usually by a date or a time, so the soldiers know exactly when that mission needs to be completed. The next is the where. The where could be anywhere. It could be in another country, it could be in a part of a city, or it could be just out in the field environment. It is very dependent on where you are at in the world at that time. The last W is why. Why is this task and purpose? Nobody likes to do a task when they do not know why they are doing it. So the military is big on giving the purpose, so the soldiers feel more engaged and more involved in the operation, so they know what the end result needs to be, and so they have more interest in the mission. In order, once the command identifies the 5 W's, they will pass it down to their subordinate leaders. Once it becomes at the lowest level, usually a company or battalion level, they will create what is known as an operations order. An operations order is determined by 5 paragraphs, which is the situation, the mission, the execution, service and support, and command and signal. That is an operations order that was given down to the lowest soldiers that will outline the operation and the mission from point A to point B that needs to be accomplished. Before that even happens, they have to use what's known as the troop leading procedures. This is an 8-step process that leadership, usually officers, have to develop from point A to point B in order to complete the operations order before it's even briefed to the soldiers. The first step is to receive and analyze the mission. The missions will always come from higher command. At this point, the senior leadership will receive and they will analyze, meaning that they will read throughout the operations order and they will determine what the mission is and what their tasks specifically state. The second step is to issue the warning order. A warning order is more or less a heads up to the subordinate leaders to let them know what is coming towards them. And that can be given in the 5 W's also of who, what, when, where, and why. This allows the soldiers to start preparation, which leads us into one of our other steps. At that point, the officers will usually make a tentative plan. This is just a basic overview of how they see the mission going in their minds. This is nothing that is written down on paper or briefed to their soldiers. This is how they believe from point A to point B that this mission can be accomplished without thinking about resources at this time. The next step is initiate necessary troop movements. This usually happens after the warning order is given to the subordinate troops, and this involves getting fuel in their trucks, grabbing their weapons from the arms room, drawing ammunition, getting food, or packing for the field. This is usually supervised by junior enlisted leadership in order to make sure that the troops are ready once the operation is due to begin. As a leader, the next step is to recon the sites. If possible, they can use maps, pictures, or they can go on site themselves and they will conduct reconnaissance of the site to make sure that the terrain, the features are able to accomplish the mission, or in a wartime environment, they will try and conduct to see how many people are in that area, and so forth and so on. At this step, the leader has everything they need, they can complete the plan. They will use the 5-paragraph operations orders and break it down by situation, mission, execution, service and support, and command and signal. After they have completed the plan, they will issue the plan. They will usually draw in key leadership at this point, and they will go from point A to point B of the operation, how it's going to be conducted, what resources they will use, and what their end state needs to be in order to get this mission accomplished. And of course, the last step is supervise and refine. As a leader of the Army, you are not necessarily always going to be on front. You have to trust your subordinate leaders to take charge and get the mission accomplished. This frees a lot of time for the officers. However, by free time, I mean that they will be supervising and refining while the mission is ongoing. They will step in when needed, give advice when needed, and help their troops along in order to get the mission accomplished. So in conclusion, we went over the 5 W's, the who, what, where, when, and why, of how the orders operation starts from the highest level down to the lowest private who's 18-year-old and new to the Army. We also went over the 8 steps of the troop leading procedure for order development that unit leaders will use in order to analyze, plan, develop, and issue their plan to the soldiers in order for the mission to get accomplished. I appreciate everybody's time. Please feel free to leave feedback and critique, and I hope everybody has a great day.